Mr. Quist, why do you keep telling Montanans that you're a hunter when you haven't bought a hunting license in the last 15 years? You've said that you bring home meat to the table, but there's no record of you buying a hunting license in the last 15 years, sir. When was the last time you hunted on Montana's public lands?
Please don't bump into me. You almost stepped on my foot and tripped me.
You're the one obstructing my path, sir.
I'm walking.
Yeah. When was the last time you hunted on public lands, sir?
Honeyberry Farm, and we had horses and pigs and cows. We raised all the chickens for the restaurant and all the vegetables and all the fruit. And now Rob thinks we would have met earlier because his family used to come over on their farm breaks and go to Lake Blaine. And he always wanted to stop at Willow's Honeyberry Farm for their huckleberry pie, and his dad was always in such a big hurry to get to the lake that he'd never met him. So we actually didn't meet till college, and he thinks it might have started a lot earlier if we would have met then. But I just wanted to say a few things today. One, because I am a woman, and today it's Women's Day, and we have a very important decision in front of us, because we as women know that we have to have the power to make decisions on our own bodies. And I don't want legislators telling me what I can do with my own body. And we have to retain that, and we have to vote for people that are going to respect a woman's right to make decisions over her own body. And there's only one candidate that is promising to respect our rights in this. So definitely do tell your women friends that we have to support the candidates that are going to support us. So I'm going to let you talk to Rob, and thank you for coming. It's a pleasure to be in your beautiful town.
Well, to finish that story about Willow's Honeyberry Farm, as Monty said, I always wanted to stop there because it just sounded so delicious. All the, it had these signs with a bear, kind of, holding a thing of honey, and of course with the huckleberry pies and stuff. But little did I know that eventually I would fall for one of the honeys at Willow's Honeyberry Farm. But we've lived over in the Flathead Valley, since 1990. But it's so good to be here in Conrad. We always had some epic battles with the Conrad Cowboys on the basketball court. And of course, in those days we played against people like Larry Boyer, and Tommy Robinson is here. Where are you, Tommy? There he is. Yeah, even Tommy was the guard of the team. And we always had just incredible contests, but at the end of the contest, we were always just the best of buds, With Shelby, not so much. It was always war when we played against Shelby. But I'm sure Tom would agree with me that the lessons we learned as basketball players were just something that was just, we'll treasure forever. And we learned all those great lessons that you learn in team sports, lessons of digging down inside yourself when the going gets tough, and teamwork, and all those things that are just so inherent that that you need to learn for life. And matter of fact, in the morning of the special election, when I woke up, I had the Cutbank High School fight song playing in my head when I got up in the morning. But anyway, this has been such a great honor for me, to be in this election. The state of Montana has really been giving me great support wherever we go. I've never seen the state fired up about an election like I have for this one. And I think it's because Montana realizes that this is a fight for the soul of our state. This truly is. It could not be more dire consequences if we continue to let people like my opponent get in. It goes from every issue, from public lands, to, as Bonnie mentioned, to women's health issues, and the cuts that they want to make in Social Security and Medicare, and this administration's plans for cutting funding for our farmers, in the 2018. So it just goes on and on. But people are very surprised, and I would want to give up, my life as a performing artist, to take on this challenge. But I guess after the election, I realized that I couldn't stand on the sidelines anymore, that I had to get involved. And so it's just been such a great honor for me. Let's talk about public lands for a second. Growing up in Cut Bank, of course, we had, it was just a great place for a kid to grow up, because you learn all those lessons of community and family and the essence and joy of hard work. And of course, we had the Rocky Mountains, the Front Range. That was the backdrop to my childhood. And just in a matter of minutes, you could lose yourself into some of the most beautiful landscapes in the world. And this is where I found my love of Montana's wild and wide open spaces. And so this became an important thing for throughout my whole life. And if you listen to my music, you can hear that that's a theme of every song that I've written. Not every song, but almost every song is that theme of standing up for our wild places. And so, but anyway, when people like Mr. Gianforte see our mountains and streams, they probably think, well, that would be great to own and fence in and develop. But real Montanans would say, this is our way of life. Hiking in the mountains, or hunting elk in the cabins, or fishing in the Yellowstone or the Big Hole. Chief Seattle of the Suquamish said 150 years ago, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. And there could be no greater truth in regard to this beautiful landscape. And the transfer and eventual sale of our public lands is nothing more than theft against our children and our grandchildren, and I promise you, I will steadfastly oppose it. Mr. Gianforte he's aligned, well, first of all, he sued the state of Montana to block access, to eliminate the access on the East Gallant River. He bought land there and then put up a fence and then sued the state of Montana. And I've seen the suit, I've seen the papers. He was trying to eliminate stream access and block Montanans for their use of the East Gallant River. But I think more importantly, he's given tens of thousands of dollars to groups whose sole goal it is to transfer our public lands into private hands. So this is a person, I think, that cannot be trusted with the state of Montana. Also the healthcare plan that they're pushing. Let's talk about the healthcare that they want to push on. It's going to raise premiums for the average American at $300 a person, and it's going to be an age tax for those who are between 50 and 60 years of age, because it will cost them 5 times as much as people that are younger. But I think the most important thing is that it would give special tax breaks to insurance company executives and the millionaires. To me, don't you think that there are enough millionaires in Congress? There are over 300 millionaires in Congress. And I have nothing against millionaires, but the thing is that we need someone who's going to represent the rest of us. And that's the whole issue of this race. They are well represented, but we need someone who's going to represent the state of Montana and the people that live here on a day-to-day basis and are in the trenches. To me, it's the thing is that we have to give help to our small businesses and our ranchers and farmers. They're the ones who are carrying the load of the burden in this family, in this country, and I think that we need to assist them as well. Does anybody have a glass of water? I think that's the whole thing right here. You can tell I've been campaigning pretty hard through this, and the only thing that's really affecting me is my voice. But hey, there's only how many days left? 26 days?
24.
24. See, it's going by so fast. I'm losing track of time. We've been averaging about 5 events a day. So.
Wow.
Anyway. Also, I want to talk about, I think I mentioned this earlier, that in 2018, they are going to renegotiate the Farm Bill. And, this administration, their idea is to cut funding for our farmers. So, please talk to your neighbors, your farmer neighbors, and let them know that this administration is not going to be standing up for them. We need to have someone who's from the ranching and farming community who will stand up for our farmers and ranchers in Congress.
Yeah.
All right. Well, did anybody see the debate last night?
Yes.
Or 2 nights ago, I guess it was. No, 2 nights ago. Was there a debate last night? What day is this? I have to say it was pretty entertaining. The Libertarian candidate had some of the funniest lines I've ever heard. I think he compared me to a half-ton truck with a six-cylinder motor, bright and shiny with a good sound system. But I turned over to him afterwards and I said, well, I think my truck's got a lot more miles on it than yours does, bud. But anyway, it was, I think that one thing about it is that you could clearly see the difference between me and my opponent. With the things that he has in mind for the state of Montana in so many regards, I'll tell you what, these look good. I guess I haven't eaten. My stomach is getting, my eyes are bigger than my stomach on that one, right? All right, well, I'm looking forward to this one. I'm sorry it's taken so long for me to get back here. We got here in the primary, and so, of course, being a Golden Triangle boy, I think the Golden Triangle would like to have someone who could represent the Golden Triangle in the halls of Congress. And so we're going to Shelby from here, and then of course over to my hometown of Cut Bank. And I haven't had a chance to get to Cut Bank yet in this election. But as Bonnie said, we had a chance to perform at the little theater around the corner here. Is she still running the theater? Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, it's great to see it. I think that one of the main reasons that I'm in this is that small towns need help. Let's talk about public education. My opponent, his whole idea is to cut funding for public education and transfer it, these funds over into private schools. Let's talk about public schools. These are really the hub for our communities, from sporting activities and also for choirs. And I think that we have one of the best public education systems here in America in our small schools. I went to a little rural school up in North Glacier County called the Winkler School, and we got a great education. And then, of course, on to Cut Bank, and then at the University of Montana. I'm a product of public education, and I really think that it's been one of the great things that's been sustaining me all my life. Not only that, but also for arts education as well. I had an old country music teacher that was just great. Her name was Mrs. Dornbos. And of course, in the country school, the question wasn't, are you going to be in the orchestra? The question was, what are you going to play? Right? Does this sound familiar? Yeah. But I had a chance to really try a whole bunch of different instruments, throughout the course of my time at Winkler. I got to play trombone and cello and little pump organ, one of those little things where you kind of pump it with both feet and then play the keys. I still have it. It's one of those little fold-up organs. It's pretty cool. I think the mice have eaten away all the bellows, and you have to pump really hard to get the sound out of it. But then, of course, when I got to high school, I had one of the people that had the biggest influence on me was from right here in Conrad. His name was Arnie Erickson. Yeah. Remember Arnie? Yeah. Arnie was great. He came over to Cut Bank, and he really started a musical renaissance in so many ways. We had, he started, first he talked all of us into coming out for choir, and of course, all my buddies, you're not going to go out for choir, are you? I said, you bet I am. But Arnie was great though, because first of all, we started forming ensembles, and I got 3 of my best buds, and we formed our quartet. And so that was just great. I was getting into folk music, and Arnie would take us to music festivals and where we'd get superior ratings, and so that kind of put me on my way. The way that we all got started on this is that, when we first approached him, there were already so many other ensembles. He said, well, geez, guys, I don't have time in the day. All my time is booked up, and evenings too. And so we went, oh, okay. But he said, now wait a minute. He said, how about this? How about if on the lunch hour, we'll go over to the gymnasium, we'll eat our lunches, and then for the other 45 minutes, we'll rehearse. So Arnie literally gave up his lunch hour so we could have our quartet. And I shudder to think what would happen if he had made that sacrifice for it. But see, that's the thing about our teachers here in the Big Sky. They'll make sacrifices for their students. And so that's the thing, is we have to keep supporting our public education. And to me, this is how we keep our small towns thriving, keeping our public education happening. You know, giving help to farmers and not cutting farm programs that'll keep them on their feet. Helping these family farms and ranches stay in business and not just get gobbled up by big corporations. That's why we need a representative in Congress who's going to stand up for everyday Montanans. Well, anyway, my staff is telling me I've got to go already. This just breaks my heart. But yeah.
Matt Paul said he could stay. We really do have to. He has to be out of here in 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
So, you can grab a cookie before you.
Okay.
Take a
Why doesn't your media campaign show that Greg Gianforte is a millionaire because he used a business model that exported our jobs?
Well, that's the truth. You know, that's the thing, is that's the exact case right here. You know, he talks about creating jobs. Well, yes, he has created jobs, but they're all overseas, right? You know, that's the whole thing about this organization. It created a database that would literally outsource jobs for all these the companies would cut their costs by outsourcing thousands of jobs overseas. So that, you know, that's, and also the other thing that people keep talking about, the whole gun issue. We know. Let's just talk about that for a second. This company that he sold his company to is called Oracle. And they are the ones that are creating this database for gun owners. If you look up Oracle, they are creating a database for all the gun owners. So for him to talk about me wanting to create a national gun registry is pretty ludicrous. Well, I just want to say, before I go,
how does your position support the constitutional right to life and the lives of the more than 360,000 children who are killed, half of whom are female, by Planned Parenthood each year?
You know, I think that's a falsehood. You know,
no, sir.
Federal money does not go toward those
I didn't
programs.
mention federal money. I asked you how you were going to stand up for those preborn children. You said you would fight for everyone. Does that not include? Is it just a selective support?
Well, it goes more than that. I think that, you know, we have to talk about not only that, but how are we going to support those children once they are born and through
that
to the
isn't
rest
mentioned
of
in the Constitution.
Right to life, not right to birth.
You know, and I think that, you know, first of all, nobody wants that. But I think that the issue comes down to the fact that we cannot have politicians like Greg Gianforte making decisions that are between a woman and her faith and her doctor.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say one more thing before I leave. People talk about Montana values. Let me tell you what I think Montana values are. You know, to me, Montana is a land of untold beauty, but a country that can be unforgiving for those who are not hardy and resourceful. And we could not be more diverse here in Montana, with our Indian tribes that have been here for countless generations, and immigrants from all over the world. You know, these are your ancestors, your parents. But with all of our diversity, you know, boy, those cookies look good. You guys are distracting me.
Yeah, we're sitting some with you. We just want to thank you very much for
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Helen. Hi, Helen.
We're going to just do a couple
Okay, but I just want to say a couple more things. You know, today more than ever, we must stand up and we must hold our leaders accountable. This should be an awakening, not only for the people of Montana, but for the people of this nation. We must stand up and unify and hold our leaders accountable. And when you cannot stand, I will stand for you. And when you feel like your voices are being drowned out by critics and bullies, I will stand behind the microphone to make your voices heard. Stand with me, Montana, and I will stand up for you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And those of us that are getting on the road will follow them out. So we'll see you in Shelby or Cupbank. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Carrie.
Stick around and have some treats, please. There's dozens and dozens. We've got